Hey guys, this is Jay. In this video I'm going to be going over my AutoMeter gauge installation, which is something I said I was going to do like last year but never got a chance to do it. This video is going to be a little bit different because there are no stock parts to compare the gauges to, and I didn't get any footage of them before they were installed on the truck. So everything you're going to see in this video is the final installation. But they turned out really well, and I'm very pleased with how clean the installation is and how well they match the factory gauges. So let me spin you around here and we'll look at them inside the truck. The A-pillar pod is, it looks factory. It goes, you can kind of see it up here, it goes over top of the factory one and is held in place by these tiny little push pins. You just drill a few holes and this pops in place right over the factory one. And the tech at Sutherland Chevrolet who installed them, I think he also drilled a hole kind of in the base of the factory A-pillar right around here so that he could run the gauge wires through the factory A-pillar so they weren't pinched between the over one for the gauges and the factory one down at the bottom. Didn't want to cause any chafing while driving and stuff like that. So the gauges I have are fuel rail pressure on the top, and then EGT in the middle, and boost on the bottom. You can get the boost up to like 60 psi, but I have no plans to put that much boost through this thing, so the 0 to 35 is perfect for this. I also went with the GM factory match gauge faces, and as you can see, compared to the original dash, it's almost a flawless match. The font is just the slightest bit different, but the gauge needles and everything, they look exactly like it, other than the fact that mine are all faded from UV exposure. But yeah, they're extremely handy to have, and there's no duplicates. Sometimes I'll see people put a trans temp gauge here, even though there's already one there. But I really like having all this extra information to keep tabs on, and it's also helpful to have this EGT gauge right here as sort of a cool down timer. I don't shut the truck off unless the EGTs are under 300 degrees, which is helpful for the turbo and exhaust manifolds to cool down. But I'll show you the boost gauge setup under the hood, but this is just a mechanical gauge. This one is a digital stepper motor that runs off a thermocouple into one of the exhaust manifolds, and this one is also a digital stepper motor, but it taps directly into the rail pressure sensor, so there's really no wiring for any of them. It's just routing the thermocouple to the exhaust manifold and tapping into the plug for this one, and then running a little plastic nylon line for the boost gauge. So let me get under the hood and I'll show you how the boost gauge is set up. It comes with a lot of fittings to make sure you're able to do this exactly the way you want it to. This is of course the boost gauge line, pressure line running into the cab. It comes with this collet fitting right here going into, this is a three-way female, I believe that is a 1/8 inch NPT T fitting, and so that you have to cut a lot out of this wastegate reference line to get this T fitting in there, but it's a completely leak-proof way of getting boost right at the compressor outlet, which is, it's not what the manifold sees, but it's the highest boost in the system. So in my opinion, that's the best one to monitor, and it's great. There are no boost leaks, and it's just a lot of fun to watch that needle sweep up when I put my foot down. The thermocouple, there's two thermocouples. One of them goes to the Economine tuner right here because it needs its own, and then there's a separate one for the AutoMeter gauge. You might be able to see it down in there, but it's a nice braided stainless line, so it is very resistant to all the heat that it's going to be experiencing, yeah, I think that goes really well with the whole point of this build, which was to make the truck look like you know, this, I mean, I have these badges on it for the sole purpose of this, but I wanted this build to be like if Banks Power did a special edition first gen Duramax from the factory, because the whole setup is, I mean, everything is a stock fit part. So the truck looks like it's stock, just with you know, some red charge pipes and stuff like that. It's a really clean setup, and I'll try to get some night footage of it, because oh yeah, I didn't mention it. They're also backlit. Let me see if I can turn the key on and get that to show up. If it doesn't show up well, I'll have some nighttime footage of it. But they are backlit, and that backlighting also matches the factory dash. I'll turn this beeping off so you can hear me without annoyance. And they're great. They're an excellent addition to this truck, and I think, like I was saying with the whole point of this build, these gauges right here complement what I'm trying to do with this truck a lot more than having, you know, an edge monitor or something up here. I think the analog gauge faces are the right way to go, in my opinion, and the digital dash would kind of conflict with the rest of the analog setup of this truck. But anyways, those are the gauges, and I've got a whole lot more parts coming for this truck that I'm really excited to get installed. Goodness, it's been over a year since I did the oil change in this, and I've got like 13,000 miles on it. I'm really putting that AMS oil to the test. So I've got a video coming up for that, where I'm gonna drain the oil and do like a cold flow analysis on it, just to show you that this oil's still fine. The truck runs silky smooth, just like it did when I put it in there. And I also have a PPE lower oil pan to go with that. There'll be a separate video for that. But all the parts that I'm getting, I mean, I'm gonna overhaul the whole front end of this truck, whole steering system, and also a 2011 Hydro Boost upgrade. So I'm excited to share all that with you, and look for those videos in the coming weeks. Thanks for watching, and remember, if it's smoking, it's broken.